So anyway, without further ado, let's listen to Bowie, Ibarra, and my interview with him, and learn about his latest book, his latest novella, which is available to buy. You can buy a physical copy of the book, print book, or you can buy a PDF or ebook or EPUB, whatever that shit is, online through the website, probably Amazon.com as well as other websites. So let's listen to Bowie and learn about his latest work. Great. All right. Well, let's just start it out. So first off, finished reading The Cruel Fate of Dr. Brewster McGill, and as you called it. I mean, it's a short story, a little bit longer, so a novella. That'd be, I guess, a pretty accurate term for it.
Yeah.
It was a good story. I enjoyed it, and I think the one thing I noticed from reading that and reading your earlier work, the was it La Lechuza?
That's right, go take La Lechuza.
Yeah, that was. I think your the writing style's gotten smoother.
Awesome.
Just like smoother meaning like it just kind of flowed better. Like from I guess a technical point of view, that was the big thing I noticed. It was a good story. It's kind of. Well, let me ask you where you got the idea for it, because it kind of seems like a throwback kind of story, like back in the day when they always had they had these phony guys going around, with their carts trying to sell the special elixir that will cure every type of ailment. Even as far as back in films, like I remember in Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy goes out and about on her bike, and before the tornado happens, she runs into the older guy who happens to be the wizard in her dream story. And he's kind of like one of those, kind of like a charlatan, kind of a I guess a hustler. That would be an accurate term. He's a hustler trying to make money, from nothing. So where'd you get the idea for it?
It's funny, yeah, you should. It came from an idea that was just, I was working on a collaboration with another author. His name's Travis Atkins. I don't know if anybody in your audience is familiar with the zombie horror genre and books, but he's the guy that wrote the Twilight of the Dead series. He wrote Twilight of the Dead and Twilight of the Dead After Twilight or something like that. Two great books which I would recommend to the people out there. But we were kind of brainstorming ideas for collaboration, and I think something came up about relics or something like that in our discussion, and that was an idea that was kind of thrown aside. We kind of felt like we couldn't do anything with it. I felt like there was something there, but he thought, that there's probably something better. I think he also wanted something a little bit more contemporary. Another idea we came up with is one that was totally away from the topic that I explored there, but I thought the idea was still good. So I kind of developed the idea on my own, and I was like, well, heck, I think there's something here that I can work with, and kind of got an inspiration for it pretty quick, and afterwards we put together an outline, kind of like how I do it, and kind of saw the end of the story in my head, and that's what sparked the way. So that was an interesting way it kind of developed from a brainstorming session, from an idea that was pitched aside. Well, let's just revisit this idea. It's not a bad idea, so I kind of roll with it.
Definitely. The one thing I noticed too is this takes place again, southwestern United States, Texas, and the characters. The one thing I was amused by was Dr. McGill had an assistant named Isidro, and Isidro kind of was kind of like in the old Western, I guess Hollywood Westerns, where it's like the stereotypical Hispanic man, Mexican man, that his English is horrible, and he's very, I guess, subservient, loyal to, you know, Dr. McGill, and is just like, yes sir, you know, and just kind of like takes Dr. McGill is kind of a dick to him for most of the story. He's just
that's right.
He's like really mean, and there's like one of the comments in chapter 4. He goes, Dr. McGill goes to him, I must say, my dear Isidro, that you can be quite clever for a Mexican, you know, and he calls him an old bean the whole time, and at first I didn't even notice it. I'm like, wait a minute, that's totally racist to call a Mexican old bean, you know. It's, you know, very similar to just calling them, you know, beaner or something, you know, a total racial slur. And I like the kind of, I guess, the character development between Dr. McGill and Isidro, because you can tell, like, Dr. McGill kind of has a soft spot for him, like, he cares about him, but he kind of has a gruff exterior, like, he doesn't want, you know, he doesn't want it known that he cares about him, but you can kind of, you know, tell he does. And then the difference between the, you know, I guess the villains in the story, which is Zibian and his kind of, I guess, basically he's got a henchman, and their relationship where they're both just, you know, total a-holes.
Jesus, the typical bandits, two guys that are kind of bandits. There's a really smart evil one in Zibian, and of course Jesus is the muscle, you could say, I guess, the guy who really does the dirty work, the heavy lifting, you could say. Right,
and he's the one that kills people and, you know, steals this, steals that, and where did you get is the idea for what's called, you know, the eye in the story, does that have anything to do with any type of folklore or any type of truth or reality, maybe in Mexican culture or anything, or is that just something you, like, completely made up from scratch?
Yeah, well, the actual relic, I don't know if there's actually a relic out there that's the eye of, I forget how to pronounce it even at this point, but that relic is named after a deity, a death deity in Aztec religion. So the name of the god that the eye refers to, Mictlantecuhtli, I think, Mictlantecuhtli or something like that, does refer to an actual death god, I believe, in Aztec mythology. But as for an actual eye, you know, this eye of Mictlantecuhtli or whatever, that's completely made up. But the name is, you know, does relate to an actual Aztec deity that was worshipped back in the day.
Okay, because I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that word, but when I had read that, I had my girlfriend's Mexican, and she reads up on, you know, Mexican culture and stuff, and I've seen that word before, either in documentaries or in stuff I've read, so it seemed like it was. I'm like, wait, I think that's actually a real, you know, word or real part of Mexican culture. So I didn't know if there was like anything truth to it, or if it was kind of just like, you know, like in Raiders of the Lost Ark or Indiana Jones, like he's going for all these artifacts that, you know, they've got, you know, a story behind them and they may or may not be real, you know, stuff like that.
So that's exactly kind of what I was going for, that same idea, like the idol, the golden idol of the Chachapoya Indians or whatever, you know. It's, I guess, generally acknowledged that there were, you know, fertility goddesses, statues and stuff like that that were worshipped, but I think they're called Chachapoyan Indians or whatever. I think the name of the time was fictional, as well as, of course, the deity, the little idol.
That's exactly that one. The beginning scene of the movie was what I was, you know, totally kind of saw in my head, except this was done more of like in a Western type setting.